moment. Please leave a message after the tone.
Good morning, Detective Thomas. This is Margie Allen following up from yesterday's text and email concerning an update on my son's Ryan Allen's murder case. This is my second time calling and texting you. Please give me a call. Thank you.
Everyone in this room who has had a member of their family murdered, raise your hand. You called the police and said,
"Come help me. I have a missing person report."
And they said what to you?
"Wait till after the holidays, ma'am."
You had to call around?
Yes.
No detective knocked on your door and said, "Your son's been killed, we'd like to ask you some questions so we can investigate and find out who did it"?
No.
Homicides that occur in black neighborhoods, are they worked as hard?
Absolutely. And these individuals who work homicides, they work 24 hours a day.
What do you say to somebody who is saying Jackson PD is not doing enough?
I'll be honest with you, when your loved one is killed, you can never do enough to solve their case.
And I understand those parents. They start questioning their faith. We have suffered enough.
Right up in here, and he was just laying there on the side of the road. Just laying there.
Margie Allen is a single mom to 2 sons and a daughter. In November of 2020, her youngest son, 19-year-old Ryan, was killed.
And I normally park this way, and I get out and run over and I really don't want to. You know, this enough for me to just know that were you cold? Were you looking for me? Were you waiting for me to come get you? No. I'm leaving. Just the thought that you were just laying here and I have no closure.
Jackson, Mississippi has nearly 150 homicide cases from the last 5 years that are still under investigation.
Another dispute between 2 people leads to a deadly shooting in Jackson.
The weekend capped off by the deaths of 3 people Sunday in just a 12-hour period.
In a span of 24 hours, 6 people have been shot and killed here in the capital city.
And right now, Jackson is on pace with last year's record number of killings.
No homicide detectives in America face a more daunting challenge than the ones here in Jackson, Mississippi. Last year, they had to work more than 150 cases. The year before, 130. Per capita, that's a higher homicide rate than Atlanta, Detroit, or even Chicago. And it's not even close. During the pandemic, murder rates in the United States spiked by nearly 30%. The largest yearly increase ever recorded by the FBI. But even more alarming is the drop in clearance rates, or arrests made in homicide cases. In just about half the murders nationwide, no one is charged. That's a 50-year low that disproportionately impacts communities of color. In Jackson, Mississippi, a predominantly black city, the number of homicide-related arrests are slightly higher than the national average, but still dropped more than 13% over the last 5 years. What was your son's name?
Zachary Ryan Robinson.
And when was he killed?
He was murdered on April 29th of 2014.
My son, his name is Kenlon Thompson Jr. He was murdered April the 1st, 2021. He actually was at the gas station in Jackson putting air in his tire. He wasn't even gone home 15 minutes. Somebody killed my child.
Ryan, he was murdered November 26, 2020 on Thanksgiving. Went to the friend's house and I didn't see him again.
Still struggling, aren't you?
And nobody informed me that he was deceased. They never came and told me.
How has your experience been with the detectives trying to solve who did this crime?
Horrible.
Yes, pretty much.
Ours was horrible.
I had a missing person report. I hit a missing car, and I get a call saying, your car's on the side of the road, go pick up your car off the side of the road. I go and no Ryan. I beg them to come back. Please come back to this crime scene, because it's gotta be a crime scene because Ryan is not here. They told me to wait till after the holidays.
You called the police and said,
Come help me. I have a missing person report.
and they said what to you?
Wait till after the holidays, ma'am.
I actually had to call around to find a coroner who removed his body from the scene. I had to call around and find who removed his
Wait,
body.
Danita, you had to call around?
Yes.
No detective knocked on your door and said, your son's been killed, we'd like to ask you some questions so we can investigate and find out who did it?
No.
That's not how it works here.
No.
That's not how it works. I was showed a picture of my baby on the side of the road. I was showed some information, and I was told to go solve my own crime and bring them the evidence. And from that day forward, I started finding evidence.
If I hear you correctly, Jackson PD is saying, you want to solve the case, go investigate it yourself.
Pretty much.
Did each of you do that?
I had to do a lot of my own investigating. I did.
Did any of you actually come up with the name of a suspect? Did any of you say to Jackson PD, hey, look, I did what you asked me to do. I investigated this myself. Check out this guy. Check out that guy.
Yes, I called every day. I went downtown every day to see is anything new, have y'all got any new leads? Nothing. It's like I'm bothering, it's like I'm getting on their nerves, trying to see, have y'all found anybody? What's going on,
And these three mothers weren't alone. Throughout the day, dozens of parents poured in to share their pain and frustration with us. Everyone in this room who has had a member of their family murdered, raise your hand. Okay, how many of you feel frustrated by the way the Jackson Police Department has investigated the murder of your loved one? James Davis has been with the Jackson Police Department since 1994, and in 2018 was named Chief of Police. So, I heard from mothers today who said they don't get their calls returned. They're conducting their own investigation and turning names of suspects over to homicide detectives. They're bringing in evidence, shell casings they find on the street. How does that promote any confidence in the department?
One thing about we believe in community policing. We believe in calling back the victims. And of course, if we have a family member of a victim, they want closure. We want closure so we can provide some kind of closure to the family.
So
we
what
want evidence.
What do you say to these mothers who are saying, I can't get a call returned?
Yeah, I speak with these mothers. I speak with these families. The mayors reach out to these individuals. This is not the first time we hear it. We hear this many times. If you got a loved one that have lost a family member and you're expecting the police to fix it, and the police don't give them that answer they want, of course they're gonna be heartbroken.
Renee Hall is a former chief of the Dallas Police Department and is a social impact fellow at Harvard University. As a child, Hall's father, a Detroit police officer, was killed, and the murder was never solved. Tell me a little bit about, I know your tenure in Dallas wasn't without criticism, wasn't without controversy, but there's a data point with your murder clearance rate that's indisputable.
Absolutely.
And what is that?
So from 2018, I arrived in 2017. From 2018 to 2020, we had constant increases in our clearance rates, and they were above 70%. One of the first things my team and I did, my executive team, we met, and I told them I don't want to go to any community where we have great relationships. I only want to go to those communities where our relationships are challenged.
The nature of homicides in 2022, the nature's different?
The circumstances are different. We're talking guns. Everyone has a gun. We have states that have passed laws that says, yep, you can have a gun and you have a right to carry. As long as you're 18, 21, you can have a gun. We're talking 1980, that was not the case.
Why is it, at the end of the day, so difficult to solve a homicide?
When you talk about the sheer numbers, the numbers of homicides that come into a city, the number of officers that are assigned to the unit, the number of cases that they're actually holding. The FBI statistics tell us that a detective should have 5 or 6 cases a year. But when you have 200 homicides, you have 150 homicides, 300 homicides in a year, how many detectives do you need if each of them can only handle 5 or 6 cases?
Probably a lot more than you actually have.
Absolutely. And so when it's sheer numbers. And so we're asking the detectives to do a lot.
CBS News spoke to dozens of law enforcement officials who attributed the drop in clearance rates to primarily 4 factors: the increase in guns and access to guns, the increase in murders by people unknown to the victim, witnesses refusing to give information either out of fear of retaliation or distrust of the police, and a shortage of detectives needed to investigate all the open cases. When it comes to homicides, it seems like there's a resources issue first and foremost.
Yes.
Check me if my numbers are right. It seemed like there were, 153 homicides in 2021 in Jackson?
Yes.
How many homicide detectives do you have?
8.
8.
Yes.
FBI guidelines, each homicide detective, 5, maybe 6 cases in a year. That still gives us the capacity to handle less than 50 if you're following FBI guidelines.
Yeah.
You've got 3 times that number here.
Yes. Yes.
So you can't have nearly enough manpower when it comes to homicide detectives.
Yeah. Of course, if you looked at the national rate across the country, everybody's short. You can't find police officers. It's just a very stressful job, and a lot of people walking away from this job. And that is a challenge all across America.
Yeah.
And especially here in Jackson, Mississippi, when the pay is low, because we have police officers leaving here going to be truck drivers. I can use more police officers. I could use more homicide detectives. But if you don't build the foundation, you can have all the homicide detectives, but if the state is backed up, right, the court is backed up, we will still have the same problem by developing these cases that we're already doing. If we don't give a share case, they have to go to the state crime lab. A gun we recovered from a crime scene have to go to the state crime lab. Autopsies have to be done. That goes to the state crime lab.
You're saying the whole system is backlogged?
The whole system is backlogged.
He sent this one to me. He's saying I'm his best friend. And I just watch it over and over. And that's him when he was little. The puppies. Haircut time. This was college time right here. Now this has been since November 26, 2020. I realized Ryan went missing when he didn't show up for Thanksgiving dinner. I knew something wasn't right, because it's not like Ryan not to show up to eat. From day one, I never had a chance to really accept what's going on, because I was told if you want that murder solved, you solve it yourself.
On December 15th, 2020, less than a month after Ryan's death, Margie Allen identified 2 suspects and gave their names to the police. But as of this interview, hadn't seen any progress in the case.
There's nothing but false hope, no trust in the police. And the witnesses would probably be scared to talk to the police, because there's no trust in the police right now. You don't know who to trust right now. What would it take for me to deal with my new norm? Give me some peace and find the person that killed my son, or persons that killed my son, and give me justice. Just accept it. It's normal. A young black male is gonna die tomorrow. We have 3 over the weekend. We have 6 now. We can't get to you right now.
Sgt Nash, I talked to him and he said, well, you know, a lot of y'all come down here and act like y'all children are perfect. I said no. I said, first of all, I'm not acting like my child is perfect, but my child did not deserve to be killed in the streets.
Right.
You have another county who had a film of Ryan, possibly 2 hours before his death. It took them a month to go get the film from a mile down the road.
A month to get the video from a mile down the road, another law enforcement agency, and it took a month.
It took a month. And that's what Kevin Nash said, what difference does it make? I went, didn't I?
CBS News obtained a recording of that meeting between Margie Allen and Jackson PD homicide detective Sgt Kevin Nash.
Did you look at first transmission film?
I looked at to be honest with you, I looked at a CD and it had hours of footage on it. So I can't just say, it was different, like I said, it was different segments of different, of the CD that I looked at with different locations.
Were you able to, okay, that's the 7th, he died on the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
What took you so long?
I mean, what difference does it make? I looked at it.
Nash has been with the Jackson Police Department for 18 years and is part of the team investigating more than 150 open homicides. There's a bunch of folks in the community who are victims' relatives. And of course, their cases, the longer it goes without getting solved, they grow more and more angry, concerned, frustrated, and critical.
Right.
What do you say to somebody who is saying Jackson PD is not doing enough?
I'll be honest with you, when your loved one is killed, you can never do enough to solve that case. Some cases are going to be solved quick, some cases are going to be solved over a period of time. But I would just ask the family members, the citizens of Jackson, or even the country, just be patient with the police department. We're doing all we can.
One of the things we kept hearing the most is, oh, I call Sgt Nash. Sgt Nash never calls me back. Mm-hmm. How do you answer that?
I call him back when I'm available. If I'm in court, I can't answer my phone. If I'm in the middle of an interview with a homicide suspect, I can't answer my phone. And remember, if this was your child, you want immediate answers too. We have people that call, they look for an update, and right now we just don't have anything. But I always tell these guys, just be honest with them. Because a lot of times, family knows things that we don't know. And we encourage them to, when we investigate a case, don't just tell us the good about your loved ones, tell us the bad too. We got to find out the reason why this incident happened in the first place. It ain't because he's out there feeding bunnies and frolicking with the leprechauns and all that stuff. It could be something unsavory, but we're not here to judge the manner of death or the life that person lived. We're here to bring the family closure because everybody has a right to get their case solved.
Nationwide, why do you think there is this 50-year low in how many murder cases are being cleared?
I have a lot of answers for that question. We can blame everybody. We can blame the judicial system. We can blame the jail issue. We can blame the civil unrest with all the organized groups across America. We can break the component down to the community, and we can even blame the family. So I have no definite answer for that. I just don't. Policemen are just a scapegoat of society. It's our fault that the community is failing. It's our fault the school system is failing. It's our fault for everything. And we take blame for some stuff, whether we want to or not. We can't worry about the things we can't control. We just do what we can do to bring that family some closure.
As clearance rates on murder cases nationwide have been on a steady decline, the trend has not been felt by all demographic groups equally. In fact, the clearance rate for white homicide victims increased to 87%, while clearance rates for black victims fell to 59%. Are black neighborhoods worked? Homicides that occur in black neighborhoods, are they worked as hard?
Absolutely. These individuals who work homicides, they work 24 hours a day. They are committed to the process.
The Murder Accountability Project is a nonprofit, and it says black murders accounted for all of America's clearance decline.
The bulk of the homicides are taking place in communities of color. So if we're solving the homicides and at 50 to 70%, then we're solving the homicides that are taking place in the communities of color. Policing has been delegitimized in so many different ways. Over the last several years, we've seen acts of violence by members wearing the uniform. We just went through civil unrest where police and the community were at a place where we had not been in years.
If I gave you a magic wand and said you can fix one thing to start to reverse the decline of clearances, you would simply improve the relationship between communities where homicides happen and the police investigating them.
That's where I would start. There's some brokenness in the relationships between police and the community. There's some brokenness in that our numbers are not what they should be in police agencies. And so what are we going to do about it at this point? It takes work, and it takes owning where we are flawed, fixing it.
Shockwave Lumumba was elected mayor of Jackson, Mississippi in 2017 on a platform that included increased community oversight of police. Do you feel confident that all homicides are investigated in the same way, no matter what part of society you come from socioeconomically? Does everybody get the same treatment from Jackson PD?
Absolutely. Well, let me say this. I don't speak in absolutes, right? So if there are some outliers or some circumstances that didn't happen appropriately, then I leave space for that, right? But I have no reason to believe, right? You're talking about an 85% black city, right? You're talking about a city that you know, there is significant rates of poverty, right? And so I believe, by and large, our police department is not choosing favorites over this circumstance or another based on, you know, background.
We talked to 3 mothers whose sons have been killed, but then word got out and suddenly we had 30 plus families. And they were telling us all a similar story. Set the resource part aside, they don't feel as they're getting the attention from the homicide investigators that they feel they deserve. Is that just because there's not enough homicide detectives to go around, or is it an attitude?
It's not an attitude, I can tell you that. It may be a combination of factors. It may be, I think that the lack of available officers does create, not only stress on the families, but stress on the officers themselves, right? But it is not a position of the city or an attitude to not care for that. I want those mothers, those family members to know that their loved one mattered, right? That their case matters, and that we want to do everything that we can in order to address, the justice that they're seeking in that case.
I used to tell them when I first moved here that if something ever happened to Mama, put Mama here where the son at. I would have never thought I'd be putting my son here first. Nobody's supposed to leave. Your children are not supposed to leave before you, especially in this way. And so I get a chance to see Ryan today. It just hurts my heart. Because you be losing hope. And I understand those parents. They start questioning their faith. But it's like God says, somebody care. And if they don't care, I'm gonna send y'all somebody who do care, because we've suffered enough.
Ryan's case has been open for nearly 2 years, but just 3 weeks after CBS News arrived in Jackson, police charged Johnny Clark with murder and Jesse Wilder with accessory to murder, the 2 individuals Margie Allen alerted them to in 2020. Arrests, Margie says, finally happened because we were here. But police also arrested and charged her other son, Rockman Allen, with capital murder, saying he was involved in an alleged robbery attempt with Ryan when Ryan was killed. Under Mississippi law, if someone is killed while committing a felony, accomplices can be charged with murder. However, Rockman claims he was not at the scene that night.
Actually, I think this is Rockman now. Hello? I've tried to give them the evidence. I tried to get the detectives again to talk to me and show them why they're disregarding the evidence that you showed them to where you were located, because you don't deserve to be locked up like you do. And they just walked out my face. Oh, you just want to come home. So yeah, I know you want to come home. So I'm doing the best I can. I love you. I'm doing the best I can. They have now falsely accused my remaining son of being involved in a robbery that caused this murder. I have a new struggle now, but I am thankful that I can go to Ryan's grave and say, Mama has finally got justice. I feel sorry for the rest of these parents. I really feel sorry for the rest of the parents in Jackson, Mississippi, if this is what they have to go through to get justice.